The fear around gun violence in our schools is very real, and it is on the minds of parents around the country, including right here in Maine.
Yeah, tonight our Samantha York taking a closer look at a topic most parents hope to never have to discuss: the trauma around school shootings. Sam.
Yeah, Brian and Amanda, no parent ever wants to get the call or text that their child's school is in lockdown due to a threat of gun violence. It's not just a scary situation, it's one that has a lingering effect on all of us, and its impact goes beyond the classroom.
Monday morning, a school day.
Police say they're investigating a mass shooting.
Shots fired at Covenant School in Nashville.
I wish I could lie and say that I'm not worried about it.
We are getting new information about what transpired on this small elementary school campus.
It makes me nervous when I drop my kids off at school.
A deadly rampage at Michigan State University.
It is terrifying. Like, this is how I literally feel in my body. It like stops you. So I can't imagine what it's like to actually have that happen in your community.
While Maine has only been home to hoaxes so far,
a Greeley High School student was arrested after threatening to shoot 3 classmates.
The gun violence in schools around the country is ever present in the mind of Maine parents. Allyson Coffin isn't just a parent, she's a licensed wellness expert, one who has spent her life studying trauma and its effect on our brains.
Maine hasn't seen any school shootings, but we've seen the coverage. What kind of impact does that have on our brain?
So we need to be vigilant about what we're letting our kids see on television. They shouldn't be seeing that over and over and over again because it creates those grooves in their brain.
Grooves known as neuropathways. Our brain is full of them. Think of them as the information superhighway in your head.
Our prefrontal cortex is this part of our brain in the very front, right in through here. That's how we regulate our emotions, and it's also our impulse control. So if we have a lot of trauma, this is very underdeveloped. So your impulse control is very low. Knowing how to do a task to completion is very, very hard when this part of your brain is not fully developed because you've been in trauma, because trauma is a different state for our brain. And then another part of our brain that's very affected by trauma is amygdala. It's this little like almond-shaped thing in here. And amygdala is the part of our brain that's the fight or flight response. So like you're getting chased by a bear, your amygdala is on. You want to be running away from that bear. But if you get repeated micro traumas over and over and over again, your amygdala is always on. You're always in that sympathetic response, as opposed to being in the parasympathetic response, which is like rest and digest and like drink your Kool-Aid by the pool and have a great time. It's not like that when you have trauma all the time. You're always in hypervigilance. You're always on guard. And so when you have that in adulthood, it can look like somebody that's like very aggressive. And it can also look like that in childhood.
But here's the problem. Though Maine has been lucky, knock on wood, we are still seeing the images, hearing, and reading reports about gun violence in schools. Coffin says these are all considered secondhand traumas, and trauma is trauma, and it remains with us long after these incidents are over.
So when a school shooting happens, think of like a rock being dropped into the water. So like that's the trauma, right? And then all the ripples around it are what impact, you know, the school community, the state, the country, the world. Is that a good visual representation of how these shootings and traumatic experiences will impact us?
That's an incredible representation. So something horrific like a school shooting, the ripples come out, and so it affects, like, yes, the family and then the teachers, and then it just gets bigger and bigger. And I mean, you and I are talking about it now, and it hasn't happened in Maine. So yeah, there's a ripple effect to that, and then processing the trauma is incredibly important, as opposed to just shoving it down, because your brain still knows what happened.
The parents of the children murdered at Sandy Hook have created a website called sandyhookpromise.org. It provides a lot of help and resources for families navigating the fears around gun violence in schools. Coffin says it's important to have these conversations with your children, but those conversations are going to look different for everyone.
You want to talk to their developmental level, what they can actually understand, because children are not little adults. They're children. So we can't tell them the stuff that I'm going to talk to you about. There needs to be a filter.
So Dr. Coffin says if you're looking for specific language to use when talking about these traumatic events with your children, talk to your primary care physician or your family's therapist. They can give you the tools you need based on your child's age. And as we all know, these types of events can cause a sense of panic in all of us. So Dr. Coffin showed me a couple different breathing techniques that can really help you relax. You can find a full demonstration on our website and app. Brian and Amanda.
Always helpful techniques with kids too. Sammy, thank you.